All right. As far as the injuries go, Brady and Stool will be out. Cochran out. Driscoll out. Mike Edwards out. Nazi, Omar, and Royals. Everything went good today. So guys worked today. Had a good practice today. Today was like a Friday practice. Kind of simulated what an in-season Friday would be like. And again, good day with a little bit of heat out there. And I saw a lot of you guys go inside. At times yours.
Any idea yet on starters and how much they'll play?
I'm going to just play it by ear. They're going to start. Yeah, they'll start it off. We'll just see how it goes from there.
How important is it for you to see Christian Fulton, just considering he's been working his way back?
Yeah, we'll see how that rolls with him and see how he feels and go from there. So, yeah.
Hollywood Brown, any intention of how much you want to see from him? How does he look so far?
Yeah, I'm going to just play that by ear. I'm going to see how he does through warm-ups and all that. We'll just kind of go from there. And this is day by day right there. So I'm not going to – I want no steps backwards on that.
Andy, you kind of changed a little bit of how you played the starters during this training camp. What's gone into that, and kind of as you've gone through these 3 games instead of 4?
Yeah, there's just a little bit longer wait, here at in between this game and the next game, and so I just think I'd rather give the guys a little bit more time in this game. So the timing keeps a little closer to when we get to our game, in season game.
You've got a big day up for a lot of these kids over on the roster cut down days on Tuesday. What's your message to them as they approach this 3rd preseason game?
Yeah, so everybody can't make the team. They know that. I tell them that day one. Just make our job hard. So I can make it hard for Veach and his crew and the coaches to get rid of them. So, and that's how they've gone about their business. I haven't seen guys counting numbers and lines and doing all that stuff. They've come out and worked hard from the first guy to the last guy, and I've appreciated that. And then it's a tough day. I mean, that's not part of the job you like, but inevitably you got to almost cut half a team. So that's not an easy thing.
Is it easier or harder to do it all at once like this, or the way it used to be?
Yeah, I think it's okay. Yeah, I think it's okay. I think it gives guys maybe a better opportunity to go on, especially the way these practice squads are set up now. You got a lot of numbers there that you can work with, so you get another look potentially at the guys and through practice there. So I think it's a good thing. See what their attitudes are, especially if they know they're right on that border. See how they handle all that.
Good. It looked like their direction might have been getting on the guys a little bit. Is there, especially with these afternoon practices back at home, there's just a little bit of everybody getting drained and trying to push through camp still?
Yeah, so we've had 2 great days, and so the 3rd day, I just want to make sure they push through it. So they end up doing it. It was a hot one out there today, and so a little encouragement always helps.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, good. Thank you.
All right.
Well, first kind of a little bit off, but we saw your little cameo and became there with the Kelsey uniform. How much have you just treasured that over the years, and how much have you guys become more friends because you've seen him talk about cheese curds and everything he's doing?
Yeah, man, he's a special dude. When you talk about the greats, but also being a great person, it's an honor even being his teammate, and to call him a friend is pretty cool too. And then having that memory that I'll share with my family, for generations to come is huge, and something I'll always look back and smile on. For sure.
Yeah, you're friends with him, you're teammates with him. Is there still like a celebrity feeling to him though? Is that something you recognize?
Yeah, I obviously recognize it, but you're around guys so long, like it's just like it becomes, he's Trav, he's a dude. So nobody's stargaze or whatever the word is, but he's just a good dude and good dude to be around.
these are preseason games, but do you want to show out a little bit better this week than in Seattle?
Oh yeah, the whole team felt it. Coaches, players, all of us are pretty upset with ourselves following that game, and the best we can do is remember how we felt after that game and prepare ourselves best we can here and have some good momentum going forward.
How does Steve Spagnuolo handle? I know he's a coach that's loved by the players. How does he handle a situation like that, just to make sure you guys get the message across?
It's doing our best we can to kind of replicate in in season kind of week. Because obviously we're going to be ready no matter what in season, especially. So just making sure all guys are doing their routine. We're practicing the way we want to practice. So it's nothing too out of the box, out of the ordinary. It's just making sure we're all on the same page. We can't think of it as a preseason game. We got to think of it as a game. Whenever we step on the field, we're going to compete.
Andy mentioned energy sometimes in previous practices, just about how you can bring the energy, especially set it after the Seattle game. Is that something you guys have emphasized this week, that even though it is a preseason game, you don't want to go all the way out, but you still want to bring some energy to it?
Right. We're competitors. So, you feel like naturally it'd come. And I don't feel like anybody's feeling pressured, to bring energy. All of us, kind of bring that naturally. And, I feel like as a team we do a good job if we feel things are getting low, a lot of guys, a lot of leaders step up and be kind of pull everybody along. No, let's wake up here and let's get going.
These last 3 days have been pretty difficult with the heat and afternoon practices. How hard is it that after all of training camp to come back and still kind of push through these last few days?
You got the grueling practices at training camp. It makes these things a lot easier. We're taking a ton more reps during training camp. Bouncing around from drill to drill, on a dot. So it makes these situations a lot easier. It makes games a lot easier. And we're flying around just as fast, but we're just better prepared for it. Better prepared for the heat.
In Steve's defense, he likes to add to your plate. What do you see, or how do you see your role maybe expanding maybe this year based on what the training camp has been?
I got a decent amount of opportunity last year, and maybe it's some more situations, more and more with regarding the quarterback, spying the quarterback, and I personally need to do a lot better job at getting to the quarterback, when I'm put in those positions, on the edge or whatever, because they trust me, they want me to be out there, but they want to be able to say okay, if we're going to take out an edge rusher that we trust, is he going to do just as good or better? So that's something I've really pushed myself on and taking that into account.
What is the practice and working like to try if you are going to rush from the edge?
I think this year has been really good, especially during training camp. I've been able to, we usually go 7-on-7, with the skill guys and the D lines or 1-on-1s. I'll hit my 7-on-7 reps. Then when the 2s are going, I'll jump down with the 1-on-1s. So I think that's been a big help, just getting those reps and against those guys where we know it's all right, it's a passing down. I'm blitzing, so to get those extra reps is huge.
That was something you were really good at in college. I guess how does it feel to maybe get that roll back in a way?
Yeah, I think looking back to college, it's a lot of my rushes that I succeeded on were in between the tackles. So to get the actual reps off the edge is super helpful. As much as I can get, it's going to be super helpful, and continue to learn from the guys that do it so well in front of me. So it's kind of building and getting more comfortable, and not guessing or making premeditating or whatever my pass rush moves. That's kind of the next step.
You're not necessarily an old guy, but you're a veteran. You've been through cut down days and all that stuff. What sort of advice you have for the young guys who are trying to make this team, and how tough this next 5 days will be on them?
Just do your best to keep your routine, because I think it's so easy just to try to overstudy, take too many supplements on game day, or down that line you go anything, overload yourself and you're going to explode. I feel like the guys we have been doing a good job in terms of their routine and preparedness. I would just say keep doing that, keep being confident, because they're football players that got here for a reason, so you just need to trust that, and trust the coaches that they're putting you out there for a reason.
Last one. Thanks, Leo.
All right, thank you guys. What's up, guys? Good.
JuJu, you're an experienced guy in the locker room, but you got a lot of receivers that have provided depth throughout camp, but they're all competing for jobs now. Just what is your advice to those guys that are, trying to make this fit through?
Yeah, I mean, those guys, my advice to them is that, every opportunity you make the best of it. For a lot of young guys, I would say, and throughout the preseason, you get those chances to go out there, you work, whether it's blocking, making plays, catching the football. And, for a lot of them, it's also for other scouts, all other 31 teams to look at, our film, vice versa. So what they put on tape is good. They're all getting evaluated. And for the guys to make this team, like I said, just knowing every position, go out there, be coachable, be a sponge, and just basically make your opportunities the most of it.
What impressed you most about guys like Taekwon and Jaden? Even though Jaden's not playing Friday, but just a lot of those guys at the bottom part of the depth chart show.
Yeah, I mean, this offense is not it's not an easy offense, to learn, coming in here, especially my first time, especially as a young guy coming from a college playbook to where the hatches are a lot wider and the plays are, a lot simpler. For Jalen, him just being who he is and being able to be coachable throughout those times and seeing Taekwon grow. I've been with him when he was with the Patriots, so seeing him come from there to here and seeing him, open up and, stretch the field has helped us out a lot. So it's pretty nice to see that, these guys are coming along.
Looking back at you spent the year in New England, it seems like you're in really good shape and you feel good now. I guess as you look back, how happy are you that things worked out the way they did to end back up?
Yeah. I mean, I've just been praying a lot, honestly. Being able to just stay, with His word and His faith, and things happens for a reason. And like I said, I am happy to be back here playing with the guys here, and it feels great. It feels like home. Miss the barbecue and everything else that comes with it, but. I would say this offseason I took a lot of, just a lot of focus on myself and my shape and my health. Being able to come out here and, like you said, the older you get, it's you got to compete with these young guys. So it's nice that, the motivation's still here and the fire in my heart. So, yeah, KC's fun. I enjoy it here, not just the teams, but the fans and the people.
JuJu, when we've seen you after practice, for example, work with some guys, some of the younger guys, was that something when you came back that people have talked to you about wanting you to do? Is that just something you did on your own volition?
I think naturally it just, I'm a guy, I'm a people's person, so I like to help out the guys, especially learning plays, studying plays. And, for me, I remember when I was a rookie and, some of the older guys took time out of their day who had family, who had things going on to spend time with them. So, yeah, throughout camp, I would spend an hour after practice or after meetings, with the younger guys, just trying to get them to get their plays down because, man, this is their livelihood, man. They've been playing football since they were kids, so for them, this is the more they can get, out of a veteran. It's nice to help them out because I know it goes a long way, not just for them, but for the future. So yeah, it is very important to help out those guys.
What about you? How's your camp going? I mean, how's your build up to this
Yeah,
season too?
Nah, man, I'm excited. Camp is going great. Like I said, glad to be back for another year. I feel like it's the best shape I've ever been in. I feel great, going into this season. So, like I said, being able to just wherever I can help at, fill in the void, fill in the spots, and keep these guys going. It's going to be a long season with our schedule and how it is. It's going to be super exciting. First game in Brazil, super excited about that. So, just trying to stay, ahead of the course.
Couple more.
It seems that Matt Nagy kind of said Patrick has even taken it to slightly another level. Do you sense that, and if so, in what ways have you seen that?
I would say definitely him coming into this season, you can tell he's a lot lighter, mobility you can see, and I would say obviously his next level of seeing the next play, seeing the play ahead and kind of visualizing it has helped us out a lot. We're able to see coverages more so far ahead because, we're on the same page with him. And I think that's just more so just being around with Trav too. When you see a guy like Trav, he's still doing it at the high level. At how old he is, it's cool to see that because then now all the young guys kind of rally around that and kind of rally around Pat, and you just see okay, cool, they're taking it to the next level. It just brings everybody else to that next level. So those guys they set the bar really, really high here, and I think that's awesome. I always say when you have guys like the veteran players working hard every day, showing up every day, putting in the work, putting in the effort, it just makes the younger guys kind of just follow. And that becomes the expectation here. So every day you got to show up and work every day. So on the field and off the field, you can see that a lot. So they're definitely taking it to the next level.
JuJu, how'd you get yourself in such good shape this offseason?
First of all, I moved to San Diego, so kind of just focused on just honestly what I did was, you know, got the right people around me, the right guys. My coach that I trained with was Keith Bell, so we trained out in San Diego, and you know we pretty much did like 2-a-days, pretty much, and you know trained every single day. And I think a lot of times I, you know, would put my family first when it comes to the off season, but this time I kind of like took ahead of myself to put myself first, and you know really focus on that. So, you know, this offense is, you know, you got to run fast, so got to keep going.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Not a problem. Take care.
Jaden, you had mentioned, you know, trying to be more of a vocal leader, and especially the secondary. How has that progressed for you throughout the camp and going into this preseason?
Yeah, I think it's going pretty good, pretty well so far. You know, just gaining the trust of the guys, you know, and then we're all in it together. So everyone's listening, everyone's, you know, in it for one goal.
Have you looked at it as something where you're just like, I need to be more vocal in the meeting, or is it need to be more vocal on the field? Like, how have you gone to approach that, and just in terms of just maybe is it volume level? Like, what is it for you?
Definitely on the field, you know, talking pre-snap stuff, just doing stuff like that, you know.
How do we judge this game? What would you tell the fans to look for? Because the scoreboard doesn't matter, but what should we look for?
Definitely effort. I think, you know, that's something that we always preach on and something that we live on. So definitely effort and, you know, just being in the right spots. We got to do our job and just align right and play our game plan.
How about the approach as opposed to last week at Seattle? Do you just want to see a step up this time?
Most definitely with the run game, you know, we're going to shut that down. I feel like this week definitely with the Seattle, you know, that wasn't a pretty good performance on the defensive end. So we're going to definitely fix that.
Having lost Justin to the New Orleans, I guess, how do you and Shamari and the rest, Brian and the rest of the safety room kind of look at as, okay, we need to kind of take the bull by the horns here and make sure we don't flinch?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of like how you said it, you know, we always say we drive the bus from the back. So, you know, the defensive end, you know, we gotta control everything now that we got guys stepping up, and you know, that's what we're gonna play our role as, and we gotta be vocal leaders out there.
It seems like you three have been rotating quite a bit. I guess how has that been working within the meeting room and watching the film and so on?
Yeah, I mean, it's working pretty good. You know, we got a good rotation in, and you know, with the coaches, you know, they trust who's out there. So, you know, each day you gotta just be able to be trusted out there to be on the field.
Do you enjoy that, bouncing back from role to role and maybe just, you know, being in different positions every play?
I mean, it's no problem to me. I don't think it's a problem with anyone else. You definitely want to be out there every snap, right? But you know, whatever the coaches ask of you, you just got to do it.
Jaden, even if you're at the back end, like, what do you envision your role in the run game? I mean, you mentioned that the run game wasn't up to run defense wasn't up to par last week, but how do you take responsibility in that aspect of it?
Definitely. We had a couple runs break out of 10 yards, and you know, as safeties, you know, that just can't happen. So we got to make tackles, you know, before they reach that stick yard or whatever the case may be. We just got to make tackles. We got to be in the fit. You know, we're asked to do that. So we definitely got to work a better job of that.
Anybody else? Thanks, Jaden.
Thank you.
Thank you.